Removing the old laminate countertops, but leaving the tile backsplash and cabinets intact. Got quartz tops coming in here tomorrow. So we're going to get started pulling this out of here. First, I'll take a nice sharp razor knife, go around and cut any silicone or caulking loose from the countertop. Just make sure you got a nice sharp blade. And then start on the joint between the countertop and the tile. You could use a razor blade, take forever. A scoring tool like this with carbide tip, that would work better. You could do it with that, and it probably wouldn't take too long. But my tool of choice is going to be the Dremel Multimax. I have a, well, this blade's kind of beat up, but it's a carbide grout bit, I guess, of sorts. It's pretty beat up, but it'll work for this. Only thing is, if you're wanting to save these countertops for any reason, for your workshop or basement or whatever, just be careful, because that nut that holds the blade on will scratch the top. If you're worried about that, you can tip it, tip the blade a little bit. Otherwise, just fire that thing up and get in there, and this tile's almost, well, maybe 3/8 to a 1/2 inch thick, so you need to get in there quite a way. So a couple passes with this thing is fine. It'd probably do the trick. So not so much cutting it loose from the top, but I want to make sure that the edge between the tile, that edge up underneath, is nice and clean. Speaking of clean, try to keep the mess on top of the counter here, and shop vac as you go. Keep it all cleaned off, because once you pull this top off, you don't want all this crud falling down in the cabinets, and you got to clean that too. So make sure the up underside of the tile is nice and clean, and then we'll take a look up underneath and see how it's fastened. Ideally, a couple screws hold this down. Tile backsplash holds the back. These countertops not going anywhere, so guys, please don't glue these things down. If you have to take out a glued top, you'll be able to tell. You'll see glue oozing out from there. Don't glue these things down. It's not necessary. A couple screws, looks like in the front, hold this thing down. Perfect. Remodeler's dream. If it's glued down, you got a whole nother project on your hands, and this video may or may not help. So find the screws. Doesn't look like there's any glue in here, which is good. So we'll pop the screws out. Looks like there's one on each side, nothing in the back. I think there's one on each corner of this piece anyways. So get those out, and then this thing should be loose. Yeah, there, it's loose. And just make sure you get it cleaned off real good on top, like I said, so your stuff's not falling down in there. Just keep your job nice and clean. Any caulking or silicone, I take and cut on the top edge of it as well after I get the top loose, and pull it off. Otherwise, you run a chance of ripping the drywall paper. Sometimes comes with it. Other side of the stove, same thing. A couple screws holding it down in the front. That should pop right off after I get it all cleaned out. Beautiful. Love it when, you know, just something like this works out good. Keep it clean as you go. Like I said, you don't want this mess falling down inside the cabinet. So just kind of take your time. No big deal. You're not making a big mess. Other side, I got the appliance garage out. I got the grout line all cleaned out. This has an inside corner, two of them actually. So I'm going to opt to cut this top in half. If you have a dishwasher, there's probably 2 clips with screws in the top. Otherwise, this one's screwed in through the side into the jamb there, so I don't have to worry about the clips on the top. But make sure all your screws are out from up underneath. Pull the drawers out so you can get in there and see what's going on. This thing, it seems like it's pretty loose, so I just kind of gave it a little wiggle to see if anything was holding it. So I think the only thing holding it's the plumbing at this point. So get all your plumbing unhooked, get the sink brackets off if you got a drop-in sink like this, but garbage disposal, you know, all the drain lines and everything, water lines, got it unhooked. And then the clips that hold the, if you have a drop-in sink like this, you get those clips. They might not look exactly like that, but make sure you get all the clips out. And then there's probably plumber's putty or silicone or something. And pop that off. Get your sink out of the way. Set aside if you're reusing it or whatever. And then what I'm going to do is I'm just going to cut these two short pieces here so I don't have to cut through the whole top, and get this in two pieces so it's easier to get out of here. You could wrestle it all in one piece, but it's a pain, especially with an inside corner. I start by drilling a hole in the back side. Just be careful of your tile because you're saving that. Drill a hole in there so you can get the Sawzall blade down in there and get started. You might be able to use a jigsaw for this. Sawzall works a lot easier. There again, sharp blade. When you go to do the front side, just be careful you don't cut into the face of the cabinet. It's real easy to do that, so just be real careful on that front edge. And then that left piece, I pulled that out first, cleaning my mess as I go. That way it's not falling down inside here. And then you can pull that inside corner piece out fairly easily there. I have roughly not quite 1.5 inches, a little over 4 centimeters. That's a centimeter rule there. The new quartz is 3 centimeters. So I'm going to build these tops up. I had some scrap 3/4 stock. I ran through the table saw. It's roughly about 3/8 of an inch, which is going to give me a little over 3 centimeters. You don't want it, super tight, but I did not want a huge gap on the countertop. Because you'll see that like a sore thumb. So this is going to be a lot nicer job in the long run, a little bit more work to begin with, but as far as the finished job goes, it's going to turn out a lot nicer. So little 3/8 shim everywhere. I'm just using some brads to shoot that down to the top of the cabinet, and we're just going to go around the whole room, every cabinet, and put those on. And then even in between, you definitely want as much support as possible. You can see here, I ran a level just to make sure it was pretty close. This is pretty flat through here. I do have a seam to the left of the right of the dishwasher there. There was a cleat missing behind the dishwasher. Make sure you have one there. I added a couple of pieces on top of this Lazy Susan for some support, and then kind of check it with a level, double check your measurement, and then we'll address that 3/8 shim. Here the new quartz is in. I do have a little bit of a gap here where the sink was because the seam and everything, but got it shimmed up, silicone. Tops are all set, so I got this little piece of trim to match the cabinet color. Then I'm going to cover that uneven shimmed area with on the fronts of the cabinets all the way around the room. Here's how I put that on. It's too small to brad nail, so I just use some clear silicone behind the molding. I want you to put too much on. You don't want it oozing out, just enough to hold it. And I'll squish this little molding up in there, and then I'll use some painter's tape just to hold it in place till that silicone sets up. And that's just to cover that little edge. You really can't even tell that it's there looking from the top. But yeah, you want this thing to turn out real nice. Next thing, the tile, I got that ceramic tile caulk, color match, sanded caulking. I'll have a link to that, but that's going to finish off that edge between the tile and the countertop. And it looks just like grout. It's like sanded silicone, basically. So that's pretty much it. A few little moldings up under the bar top there. Touch up paint here and there. That little molding up under the edge there. Everything's pretty much dry. And you can see how that turned out. Now, if I had left the new top down on top of the cabinets, I would have had a huge gap there where the tile was, and that's going to look funny. Plus, where the top meets that refrigerator panel, there'd be a line there where the old top was. Real hard to get rid of that. Got my little moldings on. And then here on the right side there where I cut that caulking and to touch up the paint, I still have to silicone that. But raising the tops up a little bit, it turned out a lot nicer than having a huge gap underneath that tile. And there you can see those little moldings. Everything worked out real nice. So if you got a project like that, I hope that helps.